Well, he had a long, long life. He lived to be 100 years old. He was totally committed to art. He left jobs in various places in his life because it took up too much time.
And
took
he
him
couldn't
away.
paint.
Couldn't paint. So that's what he wanted to do. He wanted to paint. And up till maybe 4 or 5 days before he died, he painted every day. He never gave up. He was always trying to paint that one perfect painting, and he worked and worked and worked at it. And he traveled a lot. He made his life interesting. It made it interesting for me when I started to write this book, all the things he did. He was just involved in lots of things.
Now, Milford Zornes was a famous watercolorist, came to prominence in the 1930s.
Yep.
What made him famous at that time? Still a relatively young man.
Yeah, he was. He was in college, as a matter of fact, at Pomona College. He ran into Millard Sheets. He was fascinated by the fact that Millard Sheets was a well-known artist who was only 2 years older than he was. Luckily, he kind of fell in with a group called the California Scene Painters. Went to New York, did some painting there, was recognized in New York City as a watercolorist. Eventually, Eleanor Roosevelt picked out one of his paintings to be put in the White House, and that kind of made his reputation, to be real honest with you.
Sure.
But worked with the California Scene Painters all through the 1930s. As you'll see in a number of times in his life, being an art professor at a major college took up a lot of time, and it took away from Milford's ability to paint, and he didn't like that.
And you said that was a major theme, that he would constantly give up employment that would pay the bills.
Well, I mean, he gave up financial
paint.
Security.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you work as an art professor at a major college for 35 years, you've got a nice retirement and all that. Milford knew all that. He just said, no, that's just not what I want to do with my life.
And
I
he
want to
kept
paint.
painting.
And he kept painting.
And he painted till 100 years old.
He was painting when he was, I mean, pretty much bedridden the last week, but he had his old military canteen with water in it right next to his bed. We had kind of a podium set up there where he had his watercolors and watercolor paper, and he was still trying to do that one best painting ever right up until about 4 or 5 days before he passed away.